Hello there you guys, welcome to one of my videos. Paul Pogba is open to staying at Manchester United after making a transfer U-turn. He's willing to discuss a new contract. Solskjaer suggested earlier on this season that Paul Pogba could sign a new contract, and Solskjaer said Paul Pogba is happy at the club. Now, Mino Raiola recently said he's got no intentions of destabilising Paul Pogba, and he said he doesn't want to cause problems for Paul Pogba. Mino Raiola has been criticised a few times. He doesn't have a good relationship with Man United. Earlier on this season, he admitted he was working on Paul Pogba's transfer quietly to avoid offence. He made an announcement back in December, Mino Raiola, saying that his client's career at Man United is over. He said he's unhappy and he has to leave, and he's got no intentions of signing a new contract. Solskjaer was furious with Mino Raiola's announcement because it was just before the game against RB Leipzig in the Champions League. I said, didn't I, there's a chance that Pogba will stay at the club potentially past the summer. He's had a long-running transfer saga. He's been relentlessly linked with a move to Real Madrid. PSG have been in for him, and his former club Juventus have been in for him. He said the other week we revealed our asking price for Paul Pogba. It was £100 million. Earlier on this season, Matthias Pogba, Paul Pogba's brother, gave us an update on Pogba's future, and he actually advised us to sell Paul Pogba in the summer if we are to get the money, because he said he's got no intentions of signing a new contract and he could leave for nothing next year. Back in January though, it said that Paul Pogba was considering making a U-turn at the club, and he contradicted his agent Mino Raiola for the second time. As it stands at the moment, Pogba's our most expensive signing because we paid £89 million for him, and I think this is his 5th season at the football club since he rejoined. He's made over 100 appearances in all competitions. He's won 3 trophies at the club so far. That's the Europa League, the League Cup and the Community Shield. We had him when he was a lot younger under the Sir Alex Ferguson era, but we had to let him go due to limited appearances. In recent months, Paul Pogba's performances have been very, very good. So we have been getting the best out of him. He had been enjoying the best period in his Man United career since he rejoined. At the moment, he is out with a thigh injury. Solskjaer confirmed prior to the Chelsea game that he's going to be out for a few more weeks. Earlier on this season, he had an ankle injury, and he was out for the vast majority of last season with an ankle injury. But Paul Pogba is a big miss because we do lack quality in that midfield without him. Earlier on this season, we did trigger that 1-year extension on his contract, so he's under contract with Man United until June 2022. Now, I want to delve into some news on Raphael Varane. Real Madrid are warming up the idea that we could make a move for Raphael Varane in the summer. that's stemming from the Mirror. Raphael Varane is valued at £61 million. OK Dairo recently said that Real Madrid reduced their asking price to £43 million for Raphael Varane. The AS recently said that talks over extending his deal have not settled. He says Real Madrid will consider offers for Raphael Varane in the summer. So we've received a transfer boost with Real Madrid. We're not the only ones that are in for him. Liverpool have expressed an interest and PSG are also interested. I'd take Raphael Varane at Manchester United because he'd go very, very well alongside Harry Maguire in our back line. Plus Raphael Varane's highly experienced, he's 27 years of age. Obviously hasn't played in the Premier League as yet though. Raphael Varane has been a long-serving player at Real Madrid. He's been with them like 10 years now. He's made over 300 appearances. He's won 18 major honours. Real Madrid paid €10 million for him from Lens back in 2011. There has been quite a lot of players on our agenda. You already know the news on Jules Koundé from Sevilla. Apparently, we are not willing to meet his £68 million release clause, but we are still interested. There was narratives coming out the other week saying that we are willing to pay £61 million for him. He said we are considered the favourites to sign him, and apparently he said he was our top target. Jules Koundé's performances this season for Sevilla have been very, very good. He's got a contract with Sevilla till 2024. Sevilla paid £22 million for him from Bordeaux in the summer of 2019. There is a chance that we'll sign Jadon Sancho in the summer. Recent narratives have said that we are preparing to put a £50 million bid in. One narrative said that we can sign Sancho for as little as £75 million, but we are no longer the favourites. Sports Build recently said that we are still very interested in Jadon Sancho. The Athletic said different. They said, we paused our transfer pursuit of Sancho due to the progress of Mason Greenwood. Borussia Dortmund's CEO recently made an admission saying that Haaland, Sancho and more Dortmund stars could be sold to avoid financial chaos. Bild said earlier on this season that Dortmund reduced their asking price for Sancho to £88 million. So they're not £20 million off, because last summer Dortmund's valuation was £108 million. We was not willing to meet that valuation. Sancho was our number one priority target last summer. I'd love Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to sign Erling Haaland. I don't think he'll come to Man United though. It would be good to see Ole reunite with Haaland. Solskjaer knows the player well. Solskjaer was the one that gave Haaland his debut at just the age of 16 at Molde. And back in December 2019, Solskjaer and Woodward went up to Norway to meet up with Haaland to negotiate a possible move to Man United. Solskjaer said prior to the game against Sociedad in the second leg that he's keeping in touch with Erling Haaland, and he said earlier on this season that he's following Erling Haaland's progress. There's been a lot of clubs interested in him. His agent Mino Raiola said not so long ago that there's only 4 Premier League clubs that can afford him. If Haaland is to be sold this summer, Dortmund will demand in the excess of £100 million, maybe even more. But next year he does have a £68 million release clause that becomes active. But yeah, since his arrival at Dortmund, he has been a revelation. He's been at Dortmund over a year. Dortmund got him for a reasonable fee. They paid just £17 million for him. He's got a contract with Dortmund until 2024. A centre-back and a forward are the two priorities. Solskjaer recently gave us an update on our transfer plans. He's only interested in bringing in players that are a perfect fit for the club. I'm expecting us to make around 3 or 4 signings in the summer. Solskjaer confirmed that he has got the backing of the owners to get the players he wants to recommend in. So far, Solskjaer has endured 4 transfer windows as permanent Man United manager. And he's spent over £200 million. He's made some good signings, but as yet he hasn't got all the players that he wanted to recommend in, and in that aspect the blame stems from the board. The board has been one of the biggest problems at the club for several years, reflecting how poor our recruitment policy's been. We've overpaid for players in recent years, and none of the managers have been backed enough since Ferguson retired. Our board, don't forget, I've got a soft stance on Ollie, with him being a club legend. Woodward has come out to show his support for Ollie quite a few times, and he said towards the end of last year that he'll back him with a long-term plan centred around summer transfer windows. Woodward's been at the club since 2012, and the Glazers have been at the football club since 2005. It was a disappointing January transfer window for us because we only saw one arrival, and that was Amad Diallo Traore. But Solskjaer said a few times during the January transfer window that he wasn't expecting any signings. We was focusing a lot more on the outgoings in January rather than the incomings. We saw a few players go in January. We saw Lingard go out on loan to West Ham. Ordina Gallo said his farewells to the club. Tiedemann Menge, he went out on loan. Facundo Palestri went out on loan. Marcus Rojo left the club. And Timothy Fosu-Mensah left the club. To Solskjaer's credit, he has got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he got recommended in. I think more players will depart Man United in the summer. There's been quite a lot of Man United fans saying that we need to sell Anthony Martial in the summer. If we sell Martial in the summer, we'll get around £30 million. It recently said we are prepared to sell Martial on one condition, and that's if we can win the battle to get Haaland, who is going to be our long-term number 9, because it's not going to be Martial because he doesn't have a long-term future at the club, and obviously it's not going to be Edison Cavani. Martial's been out of form for the vast majority of this season. He's had chances, but he just hasn't converted them. Solskjaer said not so long ago, though, that he's been impressed with Anthony Martial's work rate. And he's backed him to rediscover his form. Martial was good last season, and he was good in his debut season under Louis van Gaal. Martial has been at the club now over 5 years. Juan Mata, I think he'll go in the summer. Solskjaer said not so long ago that he's not surprised that Juan Mata is linked to a move away from the club. There's 3 Italian clubs that are in for Juan Mata. Juan Mata's current contract expires in the summer. there's an option to trigger his contract for a further year. Earlier on this season, he rejected an 18 million a year contract offer to play in Saudi Arabia. Juan Mata doesn't get in the team now though, but he's had a good career at Man United. He's been at the club over 6 years. We got Mata in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2014. We could offload Matic in the summer. Matic isn't one of our first choice midfielders, but he still gets his chances. I've always had my strong reservations about Matic because he's always been a slow player and he's ageing up now. You know, he's been at the club almost 4 years. We got Matic in a deal worth £40 million from Chelsea back in 2017. Phil Jones, I'm expecting him to leave this year. Phil Jones doesn't get in our team. This is Phil Jones' 10th season at Manchester United, so he's been a long servant. He's the only outfield player that's still here from the Sir Alex Ferguson era. I'm surprised he didn't leave in January, but Solskjaer said he's going to be given a second chance. He's been out of injury for over a year. Like I said, Paul Pogba might stay now and sign a new contract, so he may now not leave in the summer. A lot of United fans are saying that we need to get rid of Victor Lindelof as well, because Victor Lindelof is a liability and Lindelof and Maguire don't complement each other in our back line. Lindelof's been at the club a few years now. We got him in a deal worth £31 million from Benfica. And Solskjaer said the other week that he's prepared to sell either De Gea or Dean Henderson in the summer. Because I said to you, didn't I, Solskjaer's been facing a goalkeeping dilemma. Man United are second in the Premier League. No one expected us, though, to be in the position that we're in, reflecting how poor we was at the first part of this season. We've endured bad periods under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I've got to say he was lucky not to be sacked, so we actually deserve credit for sticking with him. But we've also endured good periods under Ole where we've actually seen consistency. There's been some games where he's got the best out of the team. He's improved certain players. We've got a very, very good away record in the Premier League. We haven't lost away from home in the Premier League for over a year. We've won more games at Old Trafford recently, but if you've noticed, all our defeats have come at Old Trafford this season, so we've been far better away from home than we have been at home. Solskjaer does deserve credit as well because he's got us to the FA Cup quarter-finals. It's going to be a tough game now against Leicester. He's got us to the Europa League last 16. Got us to the EFL Cup semi-final this season. Lost 2-0 to Man City. Did well last season in his first full season at the club. Guided us to 3 semi-finals. Got us a 3rd place finish and got us qualification for the Champions League. I am still Ole in at the moment, but like I've already said to you, I don't think he's the long-term manager for Man United. I think Solskjaer does deserve at least until May. Solskjaer could sign a new contract at the end of the season. But even if he does, obviously it doesn't mean he's going to see it out. Now, there was narratives coming out the other week saying that Solskjaer's future is in doubt because he admitted that he's still waiting to open talks over a new contract. Said earlier on this season that we'll actually wait until the end of the season to begin contract talks with Solskjaer. Says we could offer him a new 2-year deal. He's into the final 18 months of his current contract. My biggest concern about Solskjaer is his decision making. because he's tactically naive, especially in the big games. Yeah, there's been some games where Ollie's showed tactical flexibility, but he needs to show tactical flexibility persistently. We've really struggled against the top 6 in the Premier League this season. In the vast majority of the games against the big teams, we've failed to score. Recently drew 0-0 with Chelsea, drew 0-0 away at Arsenal, drew 0-0 at Liverpool, lost 1-0 to Arsenal at Old Trafford, drew 0-0 with City earlier on this season, drew 0-0 with Chelsea at Old Trafford, lost 6-1 to Tottenham. People say you've got to beat the top sides if you are to be genuine title contenders. Another one of my concerns about Ollie is that he hasn't got a proven pedigree as a manager. But reflecting now on his being at Manchester United, he has gained some managerial experience. Solskjaer needs to win a trophy as Manchester United manager to avoid the sack. I hope we can win a trophy this season. The FA Cup is a chance of a trophy. The Europa League is a chance of a trophy. We haven't won a trophy since 2017. The club of our stature need to be winning trophies. We know we're not going to win the Premier League this season. All United fans, I presume, now have disregarded the title. Solskjaer did actually say, though, after the 3-1 win against Newcastle, that we are still in the title race. He said the same thing after the 1-1 draw with West Brom, but that's just Solskjaer playing mind games. I don't see us winning the title under Ollie. We'll win another title at some point, but I don't know when. We haven't won the Premier League title since 2013, so we haven't won it now for like 8 years. This is Solskjaer's second full season as Man United manager, and he's been at the club over 2 years. We appointed him in December 2018, and he's been permanent Man United manager since March 2019. A lot of United fans said we give him the job too soon. The main explanation we give him the job permanently because he did very, very well as the interim manager. He won 14 games out of 19 in all competitions. But top 4 is now our aim, and I can almost assure that we will finish in the top 4 despite the draw with Chelsea recently. But if we was to sack Solskjaer at the end of this season, or if we was to sack him at some point next season, who would come in to replace him? Because there's no one available at the moment. And to be honest with you, we're not even really known as a sacking football club, despite us sacking 3 managers since Ferguson left. We sacked David Moyes after 10 months. David Moyes enjoyed the shortest tenure with the club. He's the worst manager we've ever had. And we finished 7th under Moyes. We sacked Louis van Gaal after 2 years, and we sacked Jose Mourinho after 2.5 years. I said to you, haven't I? We haven't been the same team since Ferguson retired, and no one's going to replicate what Ferguson did, and no one's going to last as long as Ferguson did, because Ferguson endured a 27-year tenure and obviously won a lot of trophies and brought success to the club. But Ferguson didn't settle in straight away because he didn't win out in his first 4 years at Man United. Mistakes have been made as well since Ferguson left, and that's one of the main explanations why we haven't been that consistent. We've spent over £1 billion on players since Ferguson retired. We must have brought around 37 players in, and the vast majority of the players we've brought in haven't been the right calibre players for Man United. Maybe there's some players we've brought in who we let go, who we shouldn't have let go. Maybe we should have kept Herrera, and maybe we should have kept Romelu Lukaku. But Ole Solskjaer knew when he'd taken over at Man United it was going to be a massive job, despite him knowing the culture of the club. He knew he had to come in and bring consistency back. He knew he had to come in and get the right players in that would be a perfect fit for the club. He knew he had to come in and get rid of the deadwood, and to his credit, he has done that. But I think Ollie's handled things well, especially, when he was under serious pressure. Solskjaer could have resigned at one point. He was that close to getting sacked. But we've got some very good players in our team, and you've got players that have really improved. You've got Dean Henderson that's done well in the games he's played in this season, and I think he's now reliable enough to become our number one. The other week it said Dean Henderson threatened to quit Man United if he's not assured the number one role. We revealed our asking price, it's £40 million. Sky Sports said that Tottenham and Dortmund were leading the race for him. Chelsea and West Ham have expressed an interest. Luke Shaw, he's really improved. He's getting forward well. He's getting into good positions. He's creating chances for his teammates. Defensively, he's done well, and he still remains our first choice left back despite the arrival of Alex Telles. Shaw's had a good career at Man United apart from the injuries he's had. Telles has done well in some of the games he's played in, but like I've said, Telles has played nowhere near as much as I expected. I've been very impressed with Eric Bailly this season. When he's played, he shows the ability to play out from the back. He makes good interceptions. He's very effective in the air. My only element of concern about Bailly is injury prone, so in that aspect he's a liability. Recently he said that we're in talks over getting Eric Bailly a new deal. Wan-Bissaka, he's done well in the games he's played in. Well, some of the games, he's played in this season. Some of the games, he's showed some very good attacking intent, and he's got into good positions. His crossing's been quite good, and defensively, Wan-Bissaka has always been superb. Fred, I think he's really improving. McTominay, he's enjoyed good games this season. He's a decent player, is McTominay, but he's not at that level where we want him to be at as yet. But hopefully he'll emulate to that level. Bruno Fernandes, he's an exceptional player. He's made a difference in the team. But there's been quite a few games now where Bruno Fernandes has looked off the pace. Mason Greenwood, he's done very well. Rashford's done well, but Rashford's had his bad periods. Edinson Cavani, he's made a fantastic impact since he's come in. Amad Diallo Traore, he looks a good asset for the first team. He's already made his debut. Amad Diallo Traore had been doing very well for our under-23s. So there you go, and on my next video, I'll be giving you my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference ahead of our game against Crystal Palace. It's a must-win game for Man United because top 4 is not guaranteed as yet, but I still think we're going to get it. We're going into this game against Palace on the back of a 0-0 draw with Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. It was a boring game, to be honest with you. There was some chances in it. The VAR penalty decision was the talking point. I thought it was a penalty because it did hit Callum Hudson-Odoi's hand, and Solskjaer gave his perception on it, and he said it was 100% nailed on penalty. By the way, the FA have decided not to take action against Luke Shaw and Solskjaer for criticising the referee in the Chelsea game. So that's good news from Man United perspective. So anyway guys, that's everything to update you today. Drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless. See you all again very soon.